Florida woman's convoluted plan to extract information about her ex-boyfriend, landing her behind bars for stalking, and trying to bribe her former lover's preteen nephew with favors. Just days after being arrested in a separate shoplifting incident in Pensacola in December of 2017, 36-year-old Shameico Jefferson was accused of following the victim and offering him money and intimacy in exchange for information about his uncle. Authorities learned about the situation from the boy's mother, who told the Escambia County Sheriff's Office that she had seen Jefferson driving past her residence regularly in 2 different vehicles. Jefferson was charged with aggravated stalking of a victim under 16, but records show that the case was eventually dismissed for reasons that are unclear. Number 17. Adam Pratt. Unemployed and living with his parents, 26-year-old Adam Pratt of Cardiff, Wales, was a man of limited means. Despite this, he tried to pay off a witness when his girlfriend, Shauna Meredith, faced a battery charge in 2015. Determined to spare Meredith from prison time, Pratt approached the witness, and Harold Howells, outside the courthouse, pulled out his bank card and offered to withdraw over $900 from the nearest ATM in exchange for her refusal to testify. A security guard witnessed the interaction and stopped Pratt from continuing to bother Howells. Pratt was charged with intimidation, and Howells later testified in court that she felt scared by the incident and hadn't returned to her home ever since. By the time Pratt's case concluded, Meredith had pleaded guilty to the battery charge and had been sentenced to 3 months in jail. Pratt was ordered to serve twice that amount of time behind bars after pleading guilty to the intimidation charge. During his sentencing hearing, his defense attorney described the defendant as an immature and naive young man who made a spur-of-the-moment decision in an attempt to help his partner of 3 years out of a bad situation. The attorney claimed that Pratt didn't even have the money to pay the bribe, but this appeared to have no impact on the judge's decision that he needed to be punished for his actions. Number 16. Daniel Gregory Franco. During the early morning hours of the New Year's Eve holiday in 2019, police in St. Paul, Minnesota caught a man breaking into the home of a relative who had just come into a windfall of cash. 31-year-old Daniel Gregory Franco and his friend, 34-year-old Richard Joseph Wallenberg, were accused of cutting a porch screen and smashing a window to gain entry into Franco's uncle's house. The men initially tried to flee from law enforcement, with Franco dropping a handgun and ammunition as he ran from the scene, but they were soon captured with help from a police canine. After initially trying to bribe his way out of trouble by offering heroin to the police, Franco reportedly claimed that his newly wealthy uncle had asked him to house sit, while Wallenberg said that he only came along because Franco had invited him to the property. But it was evident, based on the condition of the home, that the intruders had broken in and rummaged through the victim's belongings, and the gun that Franco dropped in his attempt to flee had been stolen from the residence. The 2 suspects were charged with unlawful possession of a firearm and second-degree burglary. Franco's uncle expressed shock over his nephew's alleged crimes, telling police that he had recently given Franco $3,000 and was planning on giving him another $25,000. Number 15. Albert Maruna. During a sting to catch predators who were targeting victims online in 2017, an undercover investigator in Austintown, Ohio, began chatting with 22-year-old Youngstown State University student Albert Maruna IV while posing as an underage male. Maruna responded to a dating ad post by the fictitious teen, and he remained undeterred even after being told that he was speaking with a minor, stating that he didn't believe in age. The discussions soon turned inappropriate and continued to escalate along that trajectory, with Maruna sending illicit photos of himself and even bringing up the prospect of marriage at one point. He also tried to arrange a meeting with the undercover and made some unusual requests for what he wanted his date to wear. In his determination to make the meeting happen, Maruna bribed his target with a promise to bring Sprite soda and chicken Alfredo. Police pulled him over when he was on his way to the meeting and found a Tupperware container of chicken Alfredo in his car, along with certain items that are typically used during intimacy. Maruna did not seem to understand the wrongfulness of his actions during questioning, according to police. He nevertheless pleaded guilty to multiple charges, including 3 counts of importuning, 4 counts of disseminating material harmful to juveniles, and 1 count of possessing criminal tools. The judge ordered him to register as an offender and sentenced him to 7 days in jail, followed by 120 days of house arrest and 3 years of probation. Number 14. Ashley Anderson. Shortly before 3 a.m. on a June morning in 2012, a Florida Highway Patrol trooper pulled a woman over for speeding in Orlando. The suspect, 21-year-old Ashley Anderson, hit a curb with her car while pulling to the side of the road. She then refused to exit her vehicle while reportedly displaying signs of intoxication. If she had been arrested based solely on the officer's suspicion that she was driving under the influence, Anderson would have faced a misdemeanor charge, but she repeatedly tried to bribe the trooper during the traffic stop and was hit with additional and much more serious felony charges. According to police, Anderson said she was driving because her boyfriend was unable to, due to a previous DUI conviction. She also claimed that she had successfully bribed law enforcement in the past and repeatedly offered the cop $3,000. The trooper noted in his arrest affidavit that he warned Anderson against bribing him, but that she persisted in her offers to pay him off in exchange for turning a blind eye to the situation. Anderson made her final attempt at bribing the officer at the DUI intake center before vomiting on the ground. In addition to the DUI charge, she was charged with felony counts of bribery and resisting an officer without violence. Number 13. Shannon Schwartz. After her boyfriend was arrested in Hawaii in early 2024 for being a felon in possession of ammunition, a Playboy model allegedly tried bribing a federal agent to convince the judge to release her beau from custody. Shannon Teresa Marie Schwartz, who had recently been featured on the December 2023 cover of Maxim New Zealand, was accused of repeatedly contacting a Department of Homeland Security agent in her attempts to secure Wilhelm Louis Huntzinger's freedom. According to reports, Schwartz told the agent, Daniel K., that someone had referred her to him for his ability to handle a situation involving a high-profile inmate. She asked to meet in person so she could prove she was serious about her ability and willingness to pay a bribe, and she allegedly continued to contact Daniel K. even after he rejected the offer, saying that there was nothing he could do to help. A formal investigation was launched, at which point the agent pretended to become amenable to a bribe. He met with Schwartz, who offered him $2,500 up front, along with the promise of a second payment to use his connections with a judge to secure Huntzinger's release. Following a second meeting, Schwartz was charged with 1 count each: bribery of a public official and obstruction of justice. She was released after posting a $25,000 bond, but updates have not been forthcoming, leaving the current status of the case unclear. Number 12. Anna Timohina. Dissatisfied with the $11 million divorce settlement she had received from her former husband, 43-year-old Russian socialite Anna Timohina reportedly tried bribing police to investigate her ex for alleged financial crimes. She was arrested in St. Petersburg in 2018 after providing an investigator with an envelope containing $10,000 cash, as well as a report accusing 48-year-old Alexander Timohin of being involved in an illegal banking business. The authorities claimed that Timohina failed to provide actual evidence of any crimes being committed and charged her under Russia's anti-bribery laws, which can carry a prison sentence of 7 to 12 years in the event of a conviction. Several months after her arrest, Timohina was sentenced to 4 years in a penal colony and fined $38,000. During that time, she became absent from the London social scene that she was known to frequent and slipped into obscurity, having appeared very little in mainstream news headlines ever since. Number 11. Timothy Brehmer. Desperate to prevent his wife from finding out about his 11-year affair with another woman, a British police officer murdered his mistress after she turned down a meager bribe he had offered in exchange for her silence. Timothy Brehmer and Claire Parry saw each other on and off for more than a decade before Parry discovered evidence of Brehmer being a serial womanizer in 2020. She threatened to expose his multiple alleged affairs to his wife and asked him to meet her outside a pub in West Parley, Dorset, where she confronted Brehmer about his infidelity. Less than 15 minutes after the meeting began, Brehmer strangled Parry to death in the parking lot during a heated argument. He would later admit that he had withdrawn several $100s in cash, which he had planned to offer to Parry in exchange for not telling his wife about his cheating, but he claimed that the money never left his wallet. Brehmer denied having any intention to harm Parry while giving conflicting versions of events, including one narrative containing false allegations that Parry had stabbed him. In another one of his accounts, Brehmer claimed that he had accidentally fallen on Parry during the argument that led to her death. Brehmer admitted to manslaughter but denied murdering Parry and took his case to trial. He was found not guilty of murder following his trial in October of 2020 and was sentenced to 10.5 years in prison for the manslaughter charge. Number 10. Ron Ozer. After believing that her relationship with her wealthy boyfriend was solid, 32-year-old model Elmira Neymark was shocked when the hedge fund manager tried bribing her to terminate her pregnancy. Neymark and 29-year-old Ron Ozer had been dating for 2.5 years when Neymark revealed that they were expecting a child in January of 2015. She had every reason to believe that Ozer would be happy to learn the news and was blindsided when he coldly instructed her to call the clinic and take a pill in a lawsuit. Neymark accused Ozer of becoming increasingly hostile toward her after she told him that she planned to keep the child. Ozer allegedly threatened to deny paternity before offering Neymark $75,000 to end the pregnancy, telling her that she could use the money to freeze her eggs and for future fertility treatments after finding a supportive husband. Undeterred by the offer, Neymark continued with her pregnancy and gave birth to a daughter later that year. She took Ozer to court claiming that he had refused to contribute a single dime toward the costs of raising the child and forcing her to go on Medicaid and food stamps in order to make ends meet. While the outcome of the lawsuit is unclear, a quick Google search is enough to reveal that Ozer remains extremely successful to this day, with one of his most recent headlining transactions involving the purchase of a $32 million luxury home in Miami. Number 9. Kee Ana Hazlee Williams. While responding to a late-night family fight at a Mesa, Arizona country club in October of 2019, officers found 22-year-old Kee Ana Hazlee Williams behind the wheel of her car in a seemingly intoxicated state. The young woman reportedly tried to bribe her way out of trouble with repeated offers of money. She was arrested after making her final offer of $5,000 and was charged with bribery of a public servant. Little else is known about the details surrounding the case or its eventual outcome. Number 8. Carrie Lynn Kooi. In September of 2017, an Indiana state trooper received a report about a woman who had been seen driving erratically in Elkhart County. By the time he caught up with the driver, she was asleep in her car outside at a travel station along the Indiana toll road. The car was running, and the suspect, 41-year-old Carrie Lynn Kooi, was slow to respond when the trooper knocked on her window. She refused to cooperate, forcing the trooper to obtain a warrant to draw her blood for an alcohol test, and was accused of trying to bribe the cop into letting her go during the drive to the hospital. The officer accused Kooi of spitting on him after he refused her repeated offers of cash, resulting in charges of bribery, battery by bodily waste, resisting law enforcement, and operating while intoxicated. While the outcome of the case is unclear, records indicate that Kooi petitioned to get her record expunged after squaring the matter away in court. Number 7. Denarvis Mendenhall. 26-year-old Denarvis Mendenhall is one of 3 suspects accused in the 2017 murder of Lyft driver Adekunle Aderanjo, who was shot to death in the Chicago suburb of Maywood. Since then, he's been in pretrial detention while awaiting a resolution to his case. In May of this year, prosecutors brought additional charges against Mendenhall for trying to bribe a corrections officer to smuggle drugs into the Cook County Jail, which has been his home for 7 years and counting. According to officials, Mendenhall repeatedly asked the guard for help and gave her the phone number of a second suspect, 25-year-old Lationa McGee, who he said would provide the contraband. The corrections officer reported the situation to her superiors in January, prompting a months-long investigation into the matter. During that time, an undercover officer arranged a meeting with McGee, who showed up with a bag full of synthetic cannabinoids, marijuana, lighters, rolling papers, and other items. McGee and Mendenhall have since been indicted on bribery charges, while McGee faces additional counts of conspiracy to bring contraband into a penal institution and manufacture delivery of cannabis. Number 6. Leighann Willis. While responding to a trespassing incident in late June of 2019, sheriff's deputies in McDowell County, North Carolina encountered 30-year-old Marion resident Leighann Willis. During a search of the woman's SUV and belongings, they found nearly 5 pounds of methamphetamine, almost a pound of marijuana, and over $42,500 in cash. Desperate to avoid a criminal case, Willis allegedly offered law enforcement half the money in exchange for not charging her. When that didn't work, she tried bribing the police with all of the cash, but they didn't budge, and Willis was charged with 2 counts of methamphetamine trafficking and 1 count each of maintaining a vehicle to keep a controlled substance, possession of methamphetamine, possession with intent to sell and deliver marijuana, possession of drug paraphernalia, and offering a bribe. Records show that most of the charges were ultimately dropped, including the bribery count. Willis pleaded guilty to trafficking methamphetamine and is currently serving a 90 to 120-month prison sentence with an anticipated release date of Christmas Day 2026. Number 5. Hailey Marie Akin. In January of 2019, a young Texas woman made the mistake of fleeing from law enforcement during a traffic stop, then trying to bribe her way out of trouble following her capture. According to reports, 22-year-old Hailey Marie Akin sped off as a state trooper approached her vehicle on foot along Interstate 45 in Conroe. The trooper got back into his patrol car and chased after Akin, who eventually stopped and was taken into custody. Akin reportedly struggled to stand and showed other signs of intoxication during her arrest. She was also accused of offering money to the arresting trooper in exchange for her release, but the attempted bribe was unsuccessful. Akin was booked on a felony charge of evading arrest, along with misdemeanor counts of second offense driving while intoxicated and bribery. Number 4. Hunter Cameron Villasana. While traveling along a service road in Houston, Texas, just days before Christmas in 2023, a teenage drunk driver fatally mowed down a homeless woman who was sleeping in the median. Later identified as 17-year-old Hunter Cameron Villasana, the suspect hit the victim with his Mercedes GLK 350, crashed into a wall, then struck a curb. Workers from a nearby Jack in the Box restaurant detained Villasana until police arrived, and emergency responders pronounced the victim dead at 11:30 p.m. Following Villasana's arrest, prosecutors accused the teen of offering bribes to the Jack in the Box employees via Venmo in exchange for letting him go, but they refused, and Villasana was charged with intoxication manslaughter. He pleaded not guilty and was banned from driving after being freed on a $200,000 bond ahead of his trial. Number 3. Arielle Engert. Some people go to such extreme lengths to avoid a minor charge that they end up in bigger trouble than they were facing to begin with. This was certainly the case for a 24-year-old Florida woman named Arielle Engert, who was pulled over in Clearwater on suspicion of drunk driving in 2015 after Pinellas County deputies saw her car weaving in the road. Engert underwent a breathalyzer which revealed a blood alcohol content of more than twice the legal limit. She also admitted to having a bag of marijuana in her purse and was arrested for driving under the influence and drug possession. Additional charges soon followed after Engert allegedly offered to perform a specific intimate act on 3 deputies in exchange for making the charges go away. The deputies showed no interest in her attempts to talk her way out of jail, which continued after a bag of cocaine was found hidden in her bra. In addition to the charges she was initially facing for driving intoxicated and marijuana possession, Engert was charged with another possession count for the cocaine, 1 count for introducing contraband into a detention facility, and 3 counts of felony bribery. Records show that she pleaded guilty to the resisting and drug possession charges and was granted deferred adjudication, enabling her to avoid any serious criminal convictions following the successful completion of a 2-year probation sentence. Today's topic was requested by April Shower 777 and Nikki123BXD. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. Number 2. Ladan Mohamed Ali. In what became known as the Feeding Our Future trial, dozens of defendants were accused of misusing tens of millions of dollars in federal funding that was meant to feed hungry children. Included among those charged in connection with the massive fraud scheme was 32-year-old Ladan Mohamed Ali, who conspired with at least 6 others to bribe a juror with $150,000 cash in exchange for a not guilty verdict. During the spring of 2024, Ali flew from Seattle to Minneapolis multiple times to plan and carry out the hefty payoff of the target, known only as juror number 52. According to federal authorities, she agreed to contact the juror but became worried that the plan would fail and that she wouldn't receive the payment she had been promised. She lied to one of her accomplices, claiming she had contacted the juror and that he had agreed to a bribe of $500,000 when in reality the juror was unaware of the planned bribery attempt. Ali delivered some of the money to the juror's home while keeping a generous cut for herself, but as she predicted, the plot didn't go as planned. In September of 2024, she pleaded guilty to 1 count of bribery over a juror. While awaiting sentencing in February of this year, Ali was arrested for crashing into another vehicle while drunk behind the wheel. According to police, she showed multiple signs of intoxication and her blood alcohol content was 3.5 times the legal limit. Ali was charged with DWI, obstructing a police officer and failing to give information in a collision. The judge overseeing the case granted pre-trial release with orders to undergo regular alcohol testing and to avoid bars and liquor stores. The investigation into Ali's alleged involvement in the Feeding Our Future scheme appears to be ongoing. Number 1. Dulce Ortiz. During the spring of 2022, authorities in Harris County, Texas, responded to a report of a car crash in a residential neighborhood where witnesses reported seeing a motorist fleeing the scene after running over a flower bed and damaging a sign. A man attempted to take responsibility for the accident, but this conflicted with the accounts of onlookers who helped identify 21-year-old Dulce Ortiz as the suspect. Ortiz eventually returned to the scene and was arrested on suspicion of driving while intoxicated. While being transported to booking, she allegedly tried to bribe a deputy with favors in exchange for being let go. The deputy turned down the officer, resulting in an additional bribery charge against Ortiz. The outcome of the case is unclear. Thanks for watching. Would you rather spend all of your savings on bribing a judge or spend a year in a medium security prison, and why? Let us know in the comments section below.